Hello everyone. We will start with human physiology. So our first chapter is breathing and exchange of gases. As we have read earlier, oxygen is utilized by the organisms to the indirectly break down simple molecule like glucose, amino acids and fatty acids, etc. to derive energy to perform the various activities. Carbon dioxide, which is harmful, is also released during the above catabolic reactions. It is therefore evident that oxygen has to be continuously provided to the cells and carbon dioxide produced by the cell have to be released out. This process of exchange of oxygen from the atmosphere with carbon dioxide produced by the cell is called breathing, commonly known as respiration. Respiratory organs. Mechanisms of breathing vary among different group of animals depending mainly on their habitat and level of organization. Like lower invertebrates, like sponges, coelacanths, flatworm, etc., exchange oxygen with carbon dioxide by simple diffusion over their entire body surface. Earthworms use their moist cuticles, and insects have a network of tubes, tracheal tube to transport atmospheric air within the body. A special vascularized structure called gills are used by most of the aquatic arthropods and mollusks. That is called branchial respiration. Whereas vascularized bag called lungs are used by the terrestrial forms for the exchange of gases, that is called pulmonary respiration. Among vertebrates like fishes use gills, whereas amphibian, reptiles, birds and mammals respire through lungs. Amphibians like frog can respire through their moist skin also, that is called cutaneous respiration. Now we will discuss about human respiratory system. We have a pair of external nostrils opening out above the upper lips. It leads to the nasal chamber through the nasal passages. The nasal chamber open into the pharynx, a portion of which is the common passage for food and air. The pharynx open through the larynx region into trachea. Larynx is a cartilaginous box which help in sound production and hence called the sound box. During swallowing, glottis can be covered by a thin elastic cartilaginous flap called epiglottis to prevent the entry of food into the larynx. Trachea is a straight tube extending up to the mid-thoracic cavity, which divided at the level of fifth thoracic vertebra into a right and left primary bronchi. Each bronchi undergo repeated division to form the secondary and tertiary bronchi and bronchioles ending up in very thin terminal bronchioles. The trachea, primary, secondary and tertiary bronchi and initial bronchioles are supported by a incomplete cartilaginous rings. Each terminal bronchiole give rise to a number of very thin irregular walled and vascularized bag-like structure called alveoli. The branching network of bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli comprise the lungs. We have two lungs which are covered by double-layered pleura with pleural fluid between them. It reduces friction on the lung surface. The outer pleural membrane is in close contact with the thoracic lining, whereas the inner pleural membrane is in contact with the lung surface. The part starting with the external nostrils up to the terminal bronchioles constitute the conducting part, whereas the alveoli and their duct form the respiratory or exchange part of the respiratory system. The conducting part transports the atmospheric air to the alveoli, clears it from foreign particles, humidifies, and also bring the air to the body temperature. Exchange part is the site of actual diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and atmospheric air. The lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber, which is anatomically an airtight chamber. The thoracic chamber is formed dorsally by the vertebral column, ventrally by the sternum, and laterally by the ribs, and on the lower side by the dome-shaped diaphragm. The anatomically setup of lungs in thorax is such that any change in the volume of the thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lungs pulmonary cavity. Such an arrangement is essential for breathing as we cannot directly alter the pulmonary volume. Respiration involves the following steps: breathing or pulmonary ventilation, by which atmospheric air is drawn in and carbon dioxide rich alveolar air is released out. And the second is diffusion of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide across alveolar membrane. The third is transport of gases by the blood. The fourth is diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and tissues. Fifth is utilization of oxygen by the cell for catabolic reactions and resultant release of carbon dioxide. Now we will discuss about mechanism of breathing. Breathing involves two stages: inspiration and expiration. Inspiration, during which atmospheric air is drawn in, and expiration, by which the alveolar air is released out. The movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient between the lungs and atmosphere. Inspiration can occur if pressure within the lungs, intrapulmonary pressure, is less than the atmospheric pressure. That is, there is a negative pressure in the lungs with respect to atmospheric pressure. Similarly, expiration takes place when the intrapulmonary pressure is higher than the atmospheric pressure. The diaphragm and a specialized set of muscles, external and internal co- intercostal between the ribs, help in generation of such gradients. Inspiration is initiated by the contraction of diaphragm, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber in the anterior posterior axis. The contraction of external intercostal muscles lift up the ribs and the sternum, causing an increases in volume of the thoracic chamber in the dorsoventral axis. The overall increase in thoracic volume causes a similar increase in pulmonary volume. An increase in pulmonary volume decreases the intrapulmonary pressure to less than the atmospheric pressure, which forces the air from outside to move into the lungs. That is inspiration. Relaxation of the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles return to the diaphragm and sternum to their normal position and reduce the thoracic volume and thereby the pulmonary volume. This leads to an increase in intrapulmonary pressure to slightly above the atmospheric pressure, causing the explosion of air from the lungs, that is expiration. We have the ability to increase the strength of inspiration and expiration with the help of additional muscles in the abdomen. On an average, a healthy human breathes 12 to 16 times per minute. The volume of air involved in breathing movement can be estimated by using a spirometer, which help in clinical assessment of pulmonary functions. Now we will discuss about respiratory volume and capacities. Tidal volume, TB, volume of air inspired or expired during a normal respiration. It is approx 500 ml. That is, a healthy man can inspire or expire approximately 6,000 to 8,000 ml of air per minute. Inspiratory reserve volume, IRV, additional volume of air a person can inspire by forcible inspiration. This average 2,500 ml to 3,000 ml. And the Expiratory reserve volume ERV, additional volume of air a person can inspire by a forceful expiration. This average 1000 ml to 1100 ml. Residual volume, volume of air remaining in the lungs even after a forcible expiration. This average 1100 ml to 1200 ml. By adding up a few respiratory volume described above, one can derive various pulmonary capacities which can be used in clinical diagnosis. Inspiratory capacity IC, total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal expiration. This includes tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. TV plus IRV is equal to inspiratory capacity. Expiratory capacity, total volume of air a person can expire after a normal inspiration. This includes tidal volume and expiratory reserve volume. TV plus ERV equal to expiratory capacity. Functional residual capacity FRC, volume of air that will remain in the lungs after a normal expiration. This includes ERV plus RV is equal to FRC, functional residual capacity. What is vital capacity? We see the maximum value of air a person can breathe in after a forceful expiration. This includes ERV, TV, and IRV, or the maximum volume of air a person can breathe out after a forceful inspiration. What is the total lungs capacity? TLC, total volume of air accumulated, accumulated in lungs at the end of forced inspiration. This includes RV, ERV, TV, IRV या फिर वाइटल कैपेसिटी प्लस रेजिडुअल वॉल्यूम. एक बार फिर से देख लेते हैं. इंस्पायरेटरी कैपेसिटी इज इक्वल टू टाइडल वॉल्यूम प्लस inspiratory reserve volume, and expiratory capacity is equal to tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume, and functional residual capacity ERV plus RV, and vital capacity ERV plus tidal volume plus IRV. टोटल लंग कैपेसिटी, उसमें वाइटल कैपेसिटी साथ में रेजिडुअल वॉल्यूम ऐड कर देंगे. Now we will discuss about exchange of gases. Alveoli are the primary site of exchange of gases. Exchange of gases also occurs between blood and tissues. Oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged in these sites by simple diffusion, mainly based on pressure, concentration gradient, solubility of the gases, as well as the thickness of the membranes involved in diffusion are also some important factors that can affect the rate of diffusion. Pressure contributed by an individual gas in a mixture of gases is called partial pressure and is represented as PO2, partial pressure of oxygen, for oxygen, and PCO2 for carbon dioxides. Partial pressure of these two gases in the atmospheric air and the two sites of diffusion are given in the table, and the data given in the table clearly indicate the concentration gradient for oxygen from alveoli to blood and blood to tissue. So now we will discuss about partial pressure in mmHg of oxygen and carbon dioxide at different parts involved in diffusion in comparison to those in atmosphere. So इस टेबल में रेस्पिरेटरी गैस हमारे पास में ऑक्सीजन और कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड है, उनका अलग अलग पार्ट्स में क्या एटमॉस्फेरिक पासिव प्रेशर रहता है. इस एटमॉस्फेरिक एयर में अगर पासिव प्रेशर देखा जाए ऑक्सीजन का 159, एल्कोहल में 104, एंड ब्लड डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड में 40 mmHg एंड 40, एंड ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड में 95 mmHg एंड टिश्यूज में 40 mmHg. और कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड की बात करें तो एटमॉस्फेरिक एयर में 0.3 mmHg, एल्कोहल में 40 mmHg, और डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड में 45 mmHg एंड ब्लड ऑक्सीजनेटेड में 40 mmHg, टिश्यूज में 45. इसको या ट्रिक देख लीजिए याद करने के लिए. ए डॉट ए से एटमॉस्फेरिक एयर, सेकंड इज एल्कोहल, डी से डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड, ओ से ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड एंड टिश्यूज. और साथ में ये भी याद कर सकते हैं, जहाँ पर CO2 का पार्शियल प्रेशर 45 है, वहाँ पर आपका ऑक्सीजन का पार्शियल प्रेशर 40 एंड 40 होगा। और जहाँ पर CO2 का पार्शियल प्रेशर कम होगा, 40 एंड 40, वहाँ पर उससे बहुत ज़्यादा पार्शियल प्रेशर होगा ऑक्सीजन का। एल्वोलाई में देखा जाए तो 40 जहाँ पर होगा एल्वोलाई में कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का पार्शियल प्रेशर, वहाँ ऑक्सीजन 104 होगा। ऐसे ही जहाँ पर डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड में पार्शियल प्रेशर CO2 का 40 होगा, तो वहाँ पर ऑक्सीजन का पार्शियल प्रेशर 95 होगा। द डेटा गिवन इन द टेबल क्लियरली indicate the concentration gradient of oxygen from alveoli to blood and blood to tissue. Similarly, a gradient is represent for CO2 in the opposite direction, that is from tissue to blood and blood to alveoli. As the solubility of carbon dioxide is 20 to 25 times higher than the oxygen, the amount of carbon dioxide that can diffuse through the diffusion membrane per unit difference in partial pressure is much higher compared to that of oxygen. The diffusion membrane is made up of three major layers: the thin squamous epithelium of alveoli, the endothelium of alveolar capillaries, and the basement substances composed of a thin basement membrane supporting the squamous epithelium and the basement membrane surrounding the single layer endothelium cell of capillaries in between them. However, its total thickness is much less than millimeter. Therefore, all the factors in our body are favorable for diffusion of oxygen from alveoli to tissue and that of कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड फ्रॉम टिश्यू टू एल्वोलाई। जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं, ये एक एल्वोलाई है, इसके साथ में ये ब्लड कैपिलरी जा रही है, तो और ये एल्वोलाई के अंदर एल्वोलर कैविटी है। एल्वोलाई की जो ये लेयर है, ये है स्क्वेमस एपिथेलियम की बनी हुई, ठीक है, जो कि थिक होती है। और ये जो कैपिलरी की लेयर है, ये एंडोथेलियम ऑफ ब्लड कैपिलरी है। इनके बीच में पाया जाता है बेसमेंट सब्सटेंसेस। ओके, नाउ वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट ट्रांसपोर्ट ऑफ गैसेस। Blood is the medium of transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. About 97% of oxygen is transported by RBC in blood. The remaining 3% of oxygen is carried in the dissolved state through the plasma. Nearly 20 to 25% of CO2 is transported by RBCs, whereas 70% of it is carried as bicarbonate. About 7% of carbon dioxide is carried in dissolved stage through plasma. आरबीसी के थ्रू ट्रांसपोर्ट करती है 95% ऑक्सीजन एंड 20 to 25% कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड। प्लाज्मा के थ्रू ट्रांसपोर्ट करती है 3% ओनली ऑक्सीजन एंड 7% ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड। बाकी का 70% बाइकार्बोनेट की फॉर्म में CO2 ट्रेवल करती है। Transport of oxygen. Hemoglobin is a red-colored iron-containing pigment present in the RBCs. Oxygen can bind with hemoglobin in a reversible manner to form oxyhemoglobin. Each hemoglobin molecule can carry a maximum of 4 molecules of oxygen. Binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is primarily related to partial pressure of oxygen, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and hydrogen ion concentration and temperature are the other factors which can interfere with the binding. A sigmoid curve is obtained when percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is plotted against the partial pressure of oxygen. This curve is called the oxygen association curve and is highly useful in studying the effect of factors like partial pressure of carbon dioxide and hydrogen concentration, etc., on binding of oxygen with hemoglobin. In the alveoli, where there is high partial pressure of oxygen, low partial pressure of carbon dioxide, lesser H plus ion concentration, and lower temperature, the factors are all favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin, whereas in the tissues where low partial pressure, high partial pressure of carbon dioxide, high concentration of H plus ion, and higher temperature exit, the condition are favorable for dissociation of oxygen from the oxyhemoglobin. This clearly indicates that oxygen gets bound to hemoglobin in the lung surface and gets dissociated at the tissues. Every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver around 5 ml of oxygen to the tissue under normal physiological conditions. एल्वोलाई की बात करें तो PO2 ज़्यादा होगा, बाकी सब कम होगा। और अगर टिश्यूज़ की बात करें तो PO2 कम होगा तो बाकी सब ज़्यादा होगा। H प्लस आयन ज़्यादा होता है तो एसिडिक नेचर हो जाता है, तो फिर pH कम हो जाएगा। ओके, जिससे कि ऑक्सी हीमोग्लोबिन डिसोसिएट हो जाएगा। Transport of carbon dioxide. CO2 is carried by hemoglobin as carboaminohemoglobin about 20 to 25%. This binding is related to the partial pressure of CO2. Partial pressure of O2 is major fact which could affect this binding when PCO2 is high and PO2 is low. As in tissues, more binding of carbon dioxide occurs, whereas when the PCO2 is low and PO2 is high, as in alveoli, dissociation of CO2 from carboaminohemoglobin takes place. That is, CO2 which is bound at hemoglobin from the tissues is delivered at the alveoli. RBC contain a very high concentration of enzyme carbonic anhydrase and minute quantity of the same is present in the plasma too. This enzyme facilitated the following reaction in both directions. At the tissue site, where partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high due to catabolism, carbon dioxide diffuses into the blood, RBC and plasma and form SCO3 negative and H plus ion. At the alveolar site where PCO2 is low, the reaction proceed in the opposite direction leading to the formation of CO2 and H2O. Thus, CO2 trapped as bicarbonate at the tissue level and transported to the alveoli is released out as CO2. Every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivered approximately 4 ml of CO2 to the alveoli, whereas 100 ml of oxygenated blood delivered 5 ml of oxygen. Now we will discuss about regulation of respiration. Human beings have a significant ability to maintain and moderate the respiratory rhythm to suit the demands of the body tissue. This is done by neural system, a specialized center present in the medulla region of brain called respiratory rhythm center is primarily responsible for this regulation. Another center present in the pons region of the brain called pneumotaxic center can moderate the function of the respiratory rhythm center. A neural signal from the center can reduce the duration of inspiration and thereby alter the respiratory rate. A chemosensitive area is situated adjacent to the rhythm center, which is highly sensitive to carbon dioxide and hydrogen ion. Increase in these substances can activate this center, which is turn can signal the rhythm center to make necessary adjustments in respiratory process by which these substances can be eliminated. Receptors associated with aortic arc and carotid arteries also can recognize change in CO2 and H plus concentration and send necessary signal to the rhythm center for remedial remedial actions. The role of oxygen in the regulation of respiratory rhythm is quite insignificant. Disorders of respiratory system. Asthma is difficulty in breathing causing wheezing due to inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. Emphysema is a chronic disorder in which alveolar walls are damaged, due to which respiratory surface is decreased. One of the major causes of this is cigarette smoking. Occupace, occupational respiratory disorder. In certain industries, especially those involve grinding or stone breaking, so much dust is produced that the defense mechanism of the body cannot fully cope with the situation. Long exposure can give rise to inflammation leading to fibrosis and thus causing serious lung damage. Workers in such industry should wear protective mask. इसका सबसे बेस्ट एग्जांपल है सिलिकोसिस, डिपोजिशन ऑफ सिलिका. Summary: this is the most unexpected important part of this chapter. Cell utilize oxygen for metabolism and produce energy along with the substances like carbon dioxide, which is harmful. Animals have evolved different mechanisms for the transport of oxygen to the cell and for the removal of carbon dioxide from there. We have a well-developed respiratory system comprising two lungs and associated air passages to perform this function. This first step in respiration is breathing, by which atmospheric air is taken in. This is called inspiration, and the alveolar air is released out. This is called expiration. Exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between deoxygenated blood and alveoli. Transport of these gases throughout the body by blood, and exchange of oxygen CO2 between the oxygenated blood and tissues, and utilization of oxygen by the cell, this is called cellular respiration, are the other step involved. Inspiration and expiration are carried out by the creating pressure gradients between the atmosphere and the alveoli with the help of specialized muscles, intercostal and diaphragm. Volume of air involved in these activities can be estimated by the help of spirometer and are the clinical significance. Exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide at the alveoli and tissues occurs by diffusion. Rate of diffusion is dependent on the partial pressure gradient of oxygen and CO2, partial pressure of CO2, their solubility as well as the thickness of the diffusion surface. These factor in our body facilitate diffusion of oxygen from the alveoli to the deoxygenated blood as well as from the oxygenated blood to the tissues. The factors are favorable for the diffusion of carbon dioxide in opposite direction, that is from tissue to alveoli. Oxygen is transported mainly as oxyhemoglobin in the alveoli, where partial pressure of oxygen higher, oxygen get bound to the hemoglobin, which is easily dissociated at the tissues, where partial pressure of oxygen is low and partial pressure of CO2 and H plus ion concentration are high. Nearly 70% of carbon dioxide is transported as bicarbonate with the help of the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. 20 to 25% of carbon dioxide carried by the hemoglobin as carboamino hemoglobin. In the tissue where partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high, it get bound to the blood where is alveoli, where in the alveoli, where partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low and partial pressure of CO2 is high, it gets removed from the blood. Respiration rhythm is maintained by the respiratory center in the medulla region of brain, a pneumotaxic center in the pons region of the brain, and a chemosensitive area in medulla can alter respiratory mechanism. Okay, thank you.